Hi friends, thank you so much for being here today. We are so happy you're joining us because we are coming to you live from LivingFelt because it's Happy Woolly Wednesday! Hey everybody, friends, BFFs from all over the world. We are so glad to be back with you this week and thank you for joining us. Today we have a fun little project for you. We are needle felting these cute lattice pie pin cushions, and you can do it no matter what supplies you have. We're going to talk you through the whole thing. It's easy, it's fun. They'd make great gifts and they'd be super good stocking stuffers or even things to sell at a craft fair or in your Etsy shop if you like. They're really fun whether you're beginner experienced, and yeah, I look forward to sharing that with you. So thank you for being here, and just here with me are the most magical of all fairies in the land. They're going to come up in just a minute and share some things with you that you might consider for this project. I want to say hi to a few folks. I see JJ Packer is here with us, Laurel Katie, Sue Fuller, I saw Jude, I see Teresa Burnham, Jamel, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so glad to have you. And for those of you who are brand new or just stumbled on our channel, welcome. We are LivingFelt. We're based in Central Texas, but as you see, we have friends all over the world. So join in the live chat. I think it's over there. Say hi and where you're from. This is an interactive show. We love to share. We love to hear your ideas and your tips, what you like. From the video that you see. Join in the live chat because you have a chance to win prizes while we're live. But hey, if you're watching the replay, you can also win prizes by leaving your comments down below, which is the perfect segue for our prize winners from last week. Now, last week we didn't have a live show. We had a replay, rewatch fest, something like that, and we asked everyone to watch your favorite past Woolly Wednesday and leave a comment on that video. And so we picked 3 winners from all those comments, and honestly you guys, I'm just so blown away by all the comments. You spent so much time, shared so many comments, and we're having a challenge keeping up replying back to you, but we'll do our best to get all of those current. And so we want to say a huge congratulations to our 3 winners. Susie Kohler watched the Pumpkin House video, Kathy Hurst watched the mini 2D landscape video, and Mindy Farmer, I forget what you watched, girlfriend, but thank you everybody for tuning in and watching last week. The fairies have picked out special goodie boxes for each of you based on things you've already purchased and maybe even on the video you were watching. So those were the 3 winners from last week. I'll just show that so you can see it. Congratulations. And for everyone joining us now, there's lots of chances for you to win today. All you have to do is join in the conversation, participate with us, whether we're live or on the replay down below. So if you're ready to get started, let's just see a big round of thumbs, and I'm going to welcome our first fairy, the most magical Miss Fairy Hannah. Yay!
Hey everybody, how are y'all doing today? Fairy Hannah here. I've just got a little quick show and tell. So I'm sure y'all are familiar. We have carried wood slices in the past, but recently we have gotten in some different wood slices, if you can see those. They're fun, they're super rustic, they're a little bit more woodsy, as Marie would put it, than our previous wood slices. They're going to average about 3 to 4 inches in diameter. All of them are a little bit unique and fun and just super cool little stage for any kind of felted creation. So here's just a little example for y'all. This is a needle felted pumpkin house we did last year. And you can see it's got a nice little stage underneath it, just a fun way to display your artwork. Next up, we got Miss Fairy Becca. Thank y'all.
Yay, Hannah! Woo!
Hi guys, Fairy Becca here. So today I wanted to show you our Punch It needle felting tool. Marie will actually be using this in today's project. So this tool is made right here in the United States from natural unstained walnut wood. One of the reasons we love this tool is because it can use any of the needles we carry, and it holds up to 8, which is what we have displayed right now. Another great reason to love this tool is you can use less needles, say 4 or 6, and it works just as great. And I wanted to show you guys real quick how to open it. So you just hold it at the base here, unscrew it, and the needles just pop right in and out. There's a hole for each one. Just screw it back here. And you're ready to get grabbing and stabbing. Alrighty. Up next is Fairy Ann.
Thank you, Becca.
Hi friends, we are so excited to jump back into a needle felted project today. If you're just starting out with needle felting, or if you need a refresh on your work surface, we love using the Earth Harmony needle felting foam. The Earth Harmony foam is our signature foam. It's made from bio-based materials, including soy grown from U.S. farmers. It's also made without any harmful CFCs and without any fire retardant chemicals. As you can see, it's really, really dense and really firm, so it is going to hold up beautifully to needle felting. It's going to last you a long time, and it's super easy to clean off too. You can just use a lint roller to clean it. And this size right here is one of our most popular sizes. It's a 12-inch by 12-inch square. And it's also my favorite size. I really like it because it fits really well on my lap if I'm working just on my lap, and it fits well on a work surface or any kind of table. If you're needing just a little bit of a bigger foam, we also have, ta-da! It's a 10-inch by 15-inch piece, and we have a lot of other sizes in the Earth Harmony foam, right from 5 inches by 5 inches, going all the way up to a 24-inch by 18-inch piece. So whatever dimensions your project is, we got you covered.
Nice. Thank you, Ann.
Thank you. Next up, we have Miss Fairy Holly.
Hi everyone! How can Woolly Wednesday get any better? We can talk about pie! So when I was a kid growing up in Southern California, my favorite place to go was Knott's Berry Farm, which is kind of like an amusement park farm, whatever, and I loved getting the boysenberry pie. So I am showing you the colors that I thought would work well to make your own little boysenberry pie pin cushion. This is our MC1, which is our signature line of fiber. It's going to work exceptionally well for this project, and I'm going to show you the colors I picked out now. So I have black cherry, which is a heathered color, and I have blueberry and true violet. And I mean, you could use just one of these colors, but I think all three of them make a really nice combination because, you know, berries come in all kinds of colors when you mash them up. And, you know, maybe add a little ice cream on top of that pie.
Mixed berry pie.
Mixed berry pie. What could be better? Anyway, so enjoy making your pie pin cushion. But before we go, I have Miss Fairy Kayla.
Hey everybody, Fairy Kayla here. I am empty-handed today, so for the first time we're doing a double joke feature on Woolly Wednesday. So I had to write on my hand. What do you call a sheep that knows karate?
What do you call a sheep that knows karate?
A lamb chop. And one more. What do you get when you cross a rocket and a lamb?
What do you get when you cross a rocket and a lamb?
A rocket sheep. I'll turn it back over to Miss Marie so you guys can get to Felton.
I guess it's a big round of hearts for those fairies. I know they are so amazing. Oh man, so fun. It seems like some people are saying they're having some transmission problems with YouTube. I'm just going to check on that and see. It says, so it seems like we're having some buffering issues. So we're going to see what we can do to correct that for you guys, and so that we can get all caught up here on our stuff. So I don't know what's happening with that, but hopefully that will catch up. So give us just a moment. I'll still be here, but give us just a moment and let us see if we can get a little better video stream for you guys. I'm showing that it's still feeding. Are you, Ann? Okay, so it's saying that it's a little bit low, and maybe it's just going to catch up. It seems like YouTube's been having a little bit of issues today, but we can, if it just gets too bad, let us know, and Ann's monitoring it too, right? Okay, so we're going to stay monitoring. All right, y'all, so today's project, I picked something really simple and really fun, but I didn't come up with this by myself. So I've received a lot of gifts over the years, and pin cushions is one of the things that I tend to get as gifts. But one of the very first pin cushions I received was from my friend, she goes by a few different names, Tessa Bolt when she was here in Texas, or Terry Beehive when she moved back to the Northeast. And she was the first person to give me a lattice pie pin cushion, and so adorable. And I asked her years ago whether I could teach it, and she said yes. So I've never done that, and that's what we're going to be making today. So thank you, Terry, for the gift and the inspiration. And then I also got last year, I think it was last year or earlier this year, a cute lattice pie pin cushion from one of our BFFs, Karen Storecamp, who came to the shop on her way to the coast here in Texas for a vacation and gave me the most adorable one. And she made it in an object or a dish that she found at the thrift store. And originally I thought of us doing a pin cushion in a found cup, but I couldn't resist Terry's lattice pie, and that's what we're going to make today. So if you're excited, let me just see a big thumb or hear from you in the chat. And it looks like our connection is back. Oh, good. And let's roll on. So let's make pin cushions. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is look at the supplies that you might gather for this project. These are the ones that I gathered, and I'm going to roll you through that. Let me get us going here. Here we go. Okay, so this is my spread for making our little lattice pies, and I'm going to set this guy aside. What we're using for our pie dish are little cheapy terracotta pot saucers that you can get at the hardware store. I got these for 99 cents at one of our hardware stores called Lowe's, and there weren't a ton to choose from, but these are perfect. So you'll get a couple of these, and then you'll want some paint. I used this, and I have not linked to this, but I used this Rust-Oleum Universal Metallic Paint and Primer in one, and I'll show you what I did. I've also hand-painted terracotta, and this is just a little metallic craft paint, so some kind of little acrylic paint would be just fine for that as well. So we're going to have our dishes. You will need your fillings, and Holly showed you some of those. I chose red indigo, I think is the one I chose for mine. Red indigo, one of my favorite colors, absolutely. And for your pie crust, you know, I chose caramel for my pie crust. You might also like suntan, and suntan, the color, I'll show you on the front camera before we switch off, because the front camera captures it a little bit better than the overhead camera. But either of these would probably make great pie crusts for your project. And of course, we're going to be using our CW1 core wool. I'm using the roving today for that. Okay, couple of more supplies. You'll want, maybe, this is a suggestion, is a scrap of felt. I'll show you what we do with that. Some cardstock. This is a strip of the cardstock. Some scissors for your felt, also something to cut your cardstock, a pen, glue, and something to make round circles. So that is what all of these supplies are. And now I'm going to show you how to use them. Okay, so I'm going to clear off my desk, and Anne's going to share with me any brilliant things that you're already saying.
Pamela Miller shared a beautiful, beautiful joke. We'll have to tell Kayla about this one. She says, "What's a sheep's ultimate goal? To wool the world."
Oh, wool the world. Thank you. Very cute, very cute. Cool. Well, thank y'all for being here. I appreciate you so much. Now, for those of you who are just tuning in, all of our friends, we hang out all week long in our Facebook group, so let me pop that up for you there. And that's where we always share the projects that we make in a week, right there, all week long. So many amazing projects that people share, such a great variety and so much talent, and mostly a lot of warmth and friendship and community. So y'all think about stopping by. Okay, here's the two colors again for pie crust. This is suntan, and this one is caramel. And you know, you might choose even latte or something if you have that. Caramel, latte, maybe even clay might be a good color for pie crust, but I'm going with caramel today. And then this is the red indigo, just so you see it face front. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is prepare a few of your supplies, and I suggest, oh, the other things I didn't mention, of course, are having your needle felting foam. I'm working on our biggest size, 18 by 24, and this is a big one. This is an 18 by 24. This is 36 by, this was a custom one, huh?
Yeah.
This is I'm working on a custom size, but with our largest size is 18 by 24, and it's actually pretty popular. So you'll want foam and you'll want a collection of felting needles as well. But let's start with painting our little dishes, and I have a very professional video for you here of me spray painting my dishes. But I want to show you how I love this paint. I've never seen this paint nozzle before, and we don't sell this, whatever. I've never seen this paint nozzle before. I also got this at Lowe's, and the coverage was fantastic. I think it's hard sometimes to pick paint, you know, when you're just looking at the caps, but that's what this one looks like, is really silver. So I'll just pop this up for you here. Let me see what's the best view, and I want to show you, oh, that's probably not the best one. I'll just give you a full, let me give you a full showing of this. And sorry, get rid of that. So it's real easy to cover. It took like nothing to cover these dishes. It was like a single spray to cover them. Instant. It does take a little while to dry. That's the one thing, is it stays tacky for a little while. So it's kind of humid here. It took a little extra long, and I think they say that you can handle it in a couple of hours. So just plan to, you know, wait and not use it right away. So once you get your pie disc, while that's cooling, then you can cut out your felt. We want to cut a couple of circles from the felt. One we're going to use for the base, and one we're actually going to needle felt our little pie onto. It makes a great guide to do that. So let's go here. And sorry for my mess. Just any regular pen, and I just chose a gray to match. Go ahead and mark out, as my pen writing it is. Mark out a couple of circles out of your felt. I didn't bring the right pen. What do you have? Anne's got a pen. Thank you. Let's start again. Okay. I used this little jar because it was the right size. So find something that you can use that will be the right size for the bottom of your piece. So cut out your circle. From your felt, and just cut, if you're worried about that line, just cut right on the inside, because all we really need is a general guide. All we really need is a general guide to needle felt our wool onto. And I've done it with needle felting a circle and without needle felting a circle, and it's just easier if you have a little circle base to needle felt your wool onto. So go ahead and cut out 2 of these for each of your pies. And as I mentioned, one is going to be the base of our wool inside, and one is going to be the bottom of your dish. And that way it can slide around on the counter, and you don't worry about marking up any one surface or anything. But you can also, if you sell them, you can also add your own tag onto the bottom. You could do like an iron-on tag on the bottom or something to customize it if you Cool. All right, so we're going to use this one to needle felt our core wool onto. And we want to make our pieces fairly firm. And this is how I like to do it. Let's go, sorry, I have to drive. Sorry, y'all. Wrong way. Okay, I just wanted to get you in a little bit closer for when we do our overheads. Okay, so here's our little circle, and what we want to do is mound our wool onto it. And the best way to do that would be, you want the center a little bit more full than the edges. So go ahead and pile wool on just like this. And I'm alternating the layers, not that you have to, but it just feels like you're going to get a little more of a mix. And you can just kind of mash your hands down to see how's the height? I made my pie kind of voluminous because I like a really full pie. But the key is going to be to needle felt this fairly firm, and that's why we brought in the punch it tool. The punch it tool, I have mine loaded with 4 38 spiral felting needles, and I'm going to just put one more pile on here, and we want to just needle felt this down. So the punch it tool will make short work of your project. And I just like to tack down the edges first so that then I don't really have to hold on to it if you go around and tack those all down first. So I know that might seem kind of far away, but I'm just poking straight into this. But notice that I'm not going all the way into my foam. I'm bouncing off of my foam. So what you're going to do is get this wool compressed the best you can, and you can also work with more of like your coarse needles. This is a 36 gauge needle, and it is a little more of a driving motion. And we want to get this all nice and compressed. This can wrap around to the bottom if you want. Oh, look, I'm way off my circle. Or you can fold it back on to the top and keep building onto that. So I just want to show you how to basically get to the mounding, because we want to go from a flat circle to more of a mound. And your circle underneath just acts as a little guide to go into. Keep your thing from getting all wonky. Now the key to getting this nice and firm is to not build up too many layers at a time. You want to just build up as many layers as your needle is going to be able to go through, and that way you don't have to go through too much air. And this is already a good amount of air, but you can tack it down, and then we're gonna add a little mound right in the middle of this too. So let's get our base built. And now, to build the middle, you can even take a small amount of your wool here, make it a little more narrow than you think you might need, and really fold it over on itself to make it nice and dense. Don't worry too much about the shape. So this is like a nice dense little packet, and then you can roll it just a little bit opposite. And what we're gonna do is just plunk that down right in the middle so that now we have some density. Hold on to it tightly while you tack it down. You don't want to lose any of the tension that you just put into it. Hold it down tightly until you get it attached to the base. And once you do, then to smooth it all out, we just cover it with one more layer. And building something like this, there's no real way of getting around doing the underwork, if you will. So building this little bottom might seem kind of boring, you know, the under pie, but it's something you can do when you're not feeling overly inspired. Oh, I lost my... I'm going to grab my wool jar. I'm just going to get more wool. Always have plenty of wool. That's my... Always have plenty of ingredients for your pie. So now I'm just going to take a broader stroke of this pie, of the core wool, and put it over top, and then tack all of that down. It's like, you know, a little blanket over the top, and then you can just smooth everything down.
Audrey asks, at this point, are you felting all the way through to the base, or is your needle only focusing on like the outside layers?
I am getting, you know, I'm poking through so that it is going through to the felt underneath, and that doesn't even matter. Like the bottom doesn't matter because we're actually going to glue that down. So I am needle felting all the way. The most important thing is we want to build a nice, firm little mound for our pie. So you want to keep working on this, needle felting it down and shaping it how you want yours, and you might test it to see, you know, how much is it going to stick up out of your pie dish and how much do you want it to stick up out of your pie dish. So here's one that I worked on for a little while, and that's how low mine is. Just nice and low. In fact, this is one of the ones that I didn't form on the felt sheet. So this is one that's nice and low. And I just have it like a little bit of a lower pie. So work with your dish, but you can build your mounds up in those layers like that. Now, if you don't have these little dishes, you could also use something like a little ramekin. So this is one that I built in a little ramekin that, you know, you can probably find at your grocery store. So that's an option too. And this one is actually, because the ramekin is deep, this one is much deeper. So it's kind of like a half-size ball, and except this isn't quite, it's not quite that round. So just build up your layers until you're happy with the dome that you get, but you want it to be fairly dense. It doesn't need to be rock hard, but you want it to be fairly dense so it doesn't just cave in on your finger. Okay, cool. Now we want to cover it. So with your fiber, for those of you who've never worked with our MC1 batting, I want to open this for you and show you how to work with it. This is a 2-ounce roll, and we do sell it in smaller increments. The smaller increment you buy it, the more divided it already is. So you would see it wouldn't look like this if you buy a 1 ounce or a 1/2 ounce. It would already be divided. But this is how it comes in its fullest sense. And when you open the bat, then you unfold it, and it gets really quite wide. We don't need all of this thickness. You can see it's a rather thick bat, and sometimes you'll find in there a little tiny piece, could be long, could be short. This is what the fairies put in when they've gotten the bat to, they've divided the large bat into a size. Then they want to get the weight, because we sell it by the weight. They're going to just put a little extra in there to make sure you get the full 2 ounces or 4 ounces or 8 ounces, however much you order. So for this project, we only need some of this, and you only need enough so that you can't see the wool underneath. So you can take and split that thickness. Usually I won't do the whole thing. So like I might take this might represent a part of the pie, like about that big, but then we only need maybe a half of that. So I divide it in half, and then I'm going to split that thickness to about half. So I'll find what looks like half, and I'll just split that thickness. So this is about the thickness. If y'all have ever gotten a goodie bag from us, we have lots of goodie bags you can choose from if you just want to get a collection of colors. The MC1 goodie bags, I think we have a regular, a fall, and a winter right now. Is that right, Anne? Regular, fall, and winter. So you're already getting a split thickness. That'd be just perfect. So cool. Then we just want to cover our little pie. And you just want enough to go at least over it 100%. And this is one of the magics of needle felting with batting, is like instant coverage, and you don't even have to piece it on. For this part, I want to use my fine needles, and I'm going to work with my 42 triangle cluster. This is just a cluster of 4 42 triangles rubber banded together, and it makes a great little needle felting tool. So we're just going to needle felt this, and at first you see all of these holes, but what happens is as we compress more and more wool, then rather than getting rid of the holes, what happens is the sticky uppy parts are then laying down. So we're going to just needle felt, I'm going to needle felt this for just a moment and get this in place. Okay, so let me know any questions you have. I'm going to needle felt this for just a moment and get all of these fibers laying down. And thank y'all for being here.
A couple of our felting friends want to know if you can use one of those like mini aluminum pie dishes as a base.
Yeah, I suppose you could. The thing is, those mini aluminum pie dishes don't have much longevity. You know, they're meant to be throwaway. So I think, you know, the little little, unless you mean, I guess I'm thinking of the foil ones. But yeah, if you want to use a little aluminum one, so I was thinking of foil, but the kind that just come with a little plastic lid and pretty much get thrown away, I would say that those probably wouldn't hold up over time, and may not be the best choice for something that requires you to invest so much of your time. Now for this part underneath, you can fold this part under, or you can just tear it off. But if you tear it off as you get to this edge, leave enough so that you can just wrap around to the edge, because you don't want to have it come up short there. If somebody ever pulls it apart, you want it to look kind of finished, I guess. Which is not the point for the felt on the bottom. The felt on the bottom is just a guide. So all I'm doing is tearing off these little bits, and then I'll fold these under and tack those down.
Linda asks a fun question. She says, is there any way to add a scent to the pincushion to match whatever pie you're making?
Gosh, that's interesting. I don't have a lot of experience with artificial scents, but if you're into that kind of thing, you definitely could. I would have to figure out how to make a lavender pie for me, or a lemon and lavender. Lemon pie, maybe. A lemon pie would be a good room air freshener. Lemon pie would be a good air freshener. Okay, so what you're going to do is keep needle felting your piece until you get it all nice and smooth. And what I usually do is I'll needle felt with this tool for a while. And remember that this particular pie, we're going to be covering a lot with the lattice work, so you don't have to fuss over all the little bitty details. But if you're making a pumpkin pie, or you're making like a solid pie coverage with your pie crust, then you just go in with a single 42 triangle needle, and then you can go after those little bits, needle felt at shallow angles and various angles to kind of get it all laying down. The key to not seeing all of those holes is getting the wool nice and compressed. But we're going to be putting our lattice on top of this. So before we jump to that, do we have any questions or contributions?
Victoria asks, do you have an estimation for the finished weight, or the weight of the core wool?
Oh, I guess we can weigh. do I have my scale here? I do have a scale here. Whoops. I have a scale here, so we'll weigh this little guy that I have right here and see how much he weighs. It's not very much, because he's at 4/10 of an ounce with the covering. So half an ounce, 4/10 of an ounce, not very much at all. It's a fun project. You can really spread your fiber pretty far. So just cover it with whatever your pie filling is, all the way so that you can't see it. And then let's build our little lattice pieces from our dough. So this is the caramel, as I mentioned, and again, this can be thinned out. It doesn't need to be super thick. We're going to work in long strips. It's easier to split the thickness before you get into the little skinny pieces. So go ahead and split the thickness of your fiber, and it can be almost see-through. I don't know if you can tell that by the light. Here, I'll give you an overhead. It can be almost see-through, so it could be as thin as this piece, or it could be just double that thickness right there. That is fine too. And here's where the cardstock comes in handy. Cut strips from your cardstock, I don't know which is easier on the eye, but cut strips from your cardstock that are as thick as you want your lattice pieces to be. And this is so that you can get a nice finished lattice piece and not something that's super. This is an example of doing a lattice piece. I wanted to make this for you that wasn't made with the cardstock guide. And what happens is it's really loose and fuzzy and kind of rough looking, and it's hard to get these edges to do what you want. Using the cardstock is your ticket. So you'll want to tear strips that are double the thickness of your lattice piece. So this is 1 and this is 2, and we're going to tear our fiber to this length. Let me turn it here. So 1 and 2, and we're going to just tear our lattice off, and you can do it just by holding on to your strip here that you have. Now, normally I wouldn't want to waste this bit, but I didn't pull my piece off wide enough to do more than one. So with that done, then what we're going to do is just fold these towards the center. So fold this towards the center so you get a nice sharp line, and hold it down, and now you can use your little single needle. At first, we're just going to tack this down so that we get a nice strong edge where we folded it over. You don't have to go too far, and you're just tacking it to the foam just for the foam to hold it. And then we're going to fold whatever is remaining back over.
Jan Lynn asks, could you use a felt sheet?
Could you use a felt sheet for what?
For the pie crust.
Well, sure. If you just want to put a pie, if you just want to put that on there, but needle felting felt is not the same thing as needle felting the wool. So maybe you want to hand stitch that felt on there, because you can't really, you can needle felt onto felt, but needle felting the felt to this, it really is not going to want to stick down. You're going to see big holes and big gaps there. And so it's not the same as using fiber, which is unfelted. It's not the same, but you could hand stitch it on there maybe, and that'd probably look really cute. Okay, so we've just needle felted this strip loosely. This is going to be my top. This is the nice side. See how pretty that looks, even though I was needle felting through to the other side? So now you'll want to take your time, and you don't have to. You could put it on the pie and start needle felting it just like this and then coax it all in, but I like to needle felt it just a little more and get it closer to the size I want. So this part is going to be the top, and you want it to be fully needle felted because it's an item of function. It's something that's going to be used. So you don't want it to only be partially felted. Take the effort. It takes a little more effort to needle felt it so you don't see all the needle marks. But if you take that time, then it's going to be something that really holds up over time. Okay. This is not done, but here's what you can do is then take your little guide that you have and use it to shore up your piece, and then you can kind of needle felt into the edges. It's your little finger protector, and needle felt right into the edges. I'm not used to using this tool for that. Usually I just use a single needle. You needle felt right in and keep those edges from wisping out so much. And we just want to get them so that they have a little more body before we put them on our pie. Okay, so we're going to build our lattice. Any questions before we jump to our lattice?
Laura asks, before adding the lattice, how firm does the mound need to be?
So that's a great question, Laura. So how firm does it need to be? I don't think it needs to be rock hard. I really don't think it does. But I'm going to say, so we have our test that we share. So if you put your finger and your thumb together and you press right here on your thumb, this would be like underdone. My husband taught me this for meat, so this would be like for if you were testing meat cookedness, how well meat is cooked. This is rare, this is medium, this is well done, and very well done. So it has to do with how this part of your thumb feels. So this is very well done and well done, and I'm going to say it can honestly be between like medium, well done, and very well done. Any of those would be good. You don't want it to be as loose as just pushing on your thumb here or here. You don't want it to be super duper squishy. You want it to hold up. And before you start to put your lattice on, if you're unsure about that, use this tool. This multi-needle tool, which is nothing more than the rubber banded 42s, is really great for a gradual compression, and you can just go over the whole thing and press. If you don't have the felt on the bottom, then you could also needle felt from the bottom and add wool from the bottom. But you can just needle felt and compress it down until you're really happy with the firmness. But that is how far I would say to go. It could be anywhere between medium to well done to very well done. Any of those would be great for a pin cushion. A pin cushion doesn't have to be rock hard. And if you're using it for your felting needles to store in and out, sometimes having something that is very well done is almost too much, because then you go to put your coarse needles into it and they don't want to go in. You get a lot of resistance back. So that's just my suggestion. Okay, cool. Let's build our lattice. You'll want to build as many of those little pieces as you need for your pie. And then I built one that's a little bit different for the edge if you want to do an edge of the pie. Let's see, I have one here. So I built one that's really long for the edge of the pie, but the only difference is I only folded it in half and I left this bottom loose. That's just an option if you want to close up your pie that way. So let's build our lattice, shall we? Okay. You can just plan it out. Who knows how many you want on your particular pie. However many you want. It's really up to you. And yeah, it's kind of fun. I've been watching a lot of the Great British Baking Show, so maybe that's the deal with. And my new hobby is now baking. So in addition to felting and baking, is lots of fun. Okay, so we're just going to build our lattice. Y'all know how to build a lattice, right? Over, under, over, under. That's all we need to do. And I think for this little pie that you want to leave some gaps so that you can see the pie underneath, of course. You want to be able to see it. So over, just flip that one back and under and over. What do you think? Is that going to be enough? I think that's enough, yeah? So we can see as much of our pie as we want to. Now you could pin it down if you want to. I'm just going to take it out of my little dish, which is kind of squiggly. The dish, it kind of wants to swim around in the dish for now, and we're going to glue it into place. So just kind of get all your little lattice pieces where you want, and then we're going to start tacking them down. And I'm going to use my 42 triangle and start right in the middle. It's okay to kind of tack them down and get them where you want them, and then go back and shore up all your edges, meaning like go in the sides and get them all smooth and not hairy. No fuzzies. But tack them down first so that everybody's kind of staying where you want them along the top. And I'm just using the 42 triangle for the moment because I want to be gentle on this surface and not make too big of gaping holes. And I don't, since everything is kind of in a draft mode, I also don't want to push it too far to make like great big indents. I want to tack everything down right where I've kind of planned it to be. I'm curious to know how many people would be interested to make these for either gifts or maybe selling at a craft show, or maybe even what kind of pies or desserts you would make for a pin cushion. Sorry if I'm covering that up. Notice that I just kind of work across the whole surface and don't stay in one area, and that's just going to give you a chance to get everybody where you want it and then go back and refine it. Okay, what do you got, Anne?
Alrighty, Karen Martin is definitely gonna make one, and Linda shared that she this is perfect timing because she was thinking about making pin cushions for gifts for loved ones. Daniela shares she's going to make some cupcakes or cake slices.
Oh, cake slices. That sounds fun. And cupcakes are so cute. Some people just have a flair for the cute, you know, and they can do a cupcake so sweet. Okay, now we have all of these things down here that we don't really need, and we don't want to tuck them under because then it makes our pie sit up too high in our pie dish. So take them to the edge as far as you need to, and this is even, this is not really going to show under here. I'm using here, this is a 38 star. Really what I want to do is just tack all of those down so that I can take any extras off. because we don't need them under there. They're going to make our pie sit up too high in our dish if we leave them on. So tack all of your little edges down. And all of my lattice work, by the way, really needs to keep getting worked. But that's kind of that detail fun part that you can do while you're just sitting and chilling and go, and you just get everything laying down nice and smooth, because you don't want any fuzzies. You don't want to be able to pick this stuff off of the surface. It should be nice and firm. Okay, so we're going to go around. Got just a couple more to tack down. And you could make yours more narrow. You might be a baker yourself and make a prettier lattice. I just liked the combination of being able to see the pie underneath and the pie crust on top. Oh, love a good pie crust.
Ooh, yes.
Anne says, oh, yes. We don't make many pies here, Anne. What's up with that? We don't make pie. We're a bunch of girls, and we don't there's not some people making pies all the time. But there should be. We should be making pies more often. Okay, so I have my pie basically together, and now what I'm going to do is cut all this stuff off so that it's not extra for us. And you can just trim it off. I probably could have planned it better and not had so much extra, but I need the confidence of having enough material down there when I'm building my lattice. My lattices, you don't want to have to stretch them for them to reach. You want them to not be pulled beyond the density that you want them. All of this stuff can be used, by the way. Use it in something else. Use it for a center. Use it for a core of building up something else. Or plan better lengths than I did. Okay, so we have all of our little bits down here, and our little pie is starting to take shape. It really needs to be cleaned up, but I think we should build a little perimeter, don't you? Build a Hansel, yeah, like our little thumb press. What's it called, by the way? What's it called when you make the rim of the pie and you do the little thumb press? Ow, I poked myself.
Oh no.
I poked myself a few times on these pies. I want you to know. My husband was in my studio last night when I poked myself. He's like, "Where's your thumb guard?" Oh, I should wear my thumb guard. Okay. Almost done with this. And like I said, this little pie is looking pretty good, but I think that I'm going to go back over and clean all of this up. But here's the long piece that I have for my little edge. And the thing about this edge is usually it's sticking over the edge of your pie rim, right? Usually, so we have to start it somewhere. I'm going to take off this edge. I'm just going to tear that edge off so it's a little more loose. It was a little flabby. And I'm going to start it somewhere, but maybe not right on that, so that I have a really good adhesion when I do it. And the first thing I'm going to do is just tack this down right to the side. And then someone can correct my technique. I think I figured out how to do it by looking in a book like The Joy of Cooking or something, because no one ever taught me how. I didn't have a mother around that taught me how to do a pie, like, you know, whatever, the thumb press. So someone will say, "Marie, you're not doing it right." And if I'm not, tell me, because I just push my thumb in like that when I do it and work my way around and push my thumb in like that. So you could pin this, but what I would do is just lightly tack down each of those little in swoops, and then you can come back and finish them. So you can just work your way around the pie by making your little pinches just like that, and grab each one as you make them. It's like a little ribboning, right? That's how I think of it. I don't know the name. Does anyone have it?
Let's see. It looks like we have a couple different terms for it. Some
Okay.
people are saying it's crimping. Others are
yeah.
saying fluting.
Oh, fluting. Interesting.
Fluting.
Yeah. So anyone correcting my technique? I just kind of go like this. I put my thumb in and pinch it. Put my thumb in and pinch it as I go along. I don't really know what I'm doing. And work our way around. I think I'm not going to make it, actually. I thought I had enough to make it, but I have a little extra of my other I thought I planned enough to go all the way around. I think I planned it before I had all my lattice work on, and that probably made it a little bit bigger. And so again, you're just going to do it loose until you get it on, so that you can go back and tack it all into place. I think that's going to look cute in our little dish. What do you think? And then we can kind of make it so it sits over just like that, right? It's going to have to kind of come out, and that's why you want to wait, because when you get it in your dish, then it tends to go over the rim, you know, of your dish. So you want it to have enough room in there so that then you put it in your dish, and now we can go in, and again, it's not glued down yet, but now you can go in and kind of shape it to be right how you want it, leaving some parts sticky uppy and some parts down. So it helps, you can see that it helps to needle felt this little guy in advance so that he has some density to him, some body anyway, before you put him on. And kind of smash it down. Cool, okay, I'm gonna keep working on this just for a minute and then we'll finish him. So let me hear what all you brilliant people are saying.
So Jenny asks, when you're applying the lattice part, can you use sewing pins to hold them down?
Yeah, you probably could. That's what I was saying. You could probably pin it, or you could just tack it. So just to be shorter on time, I didn't pin it. I've just decided to do it this way with y'all. So pinning it is absolutely an option, and I think a good option. I think it would probably just make it a little bit easier to work. I'm going to join these.
Katie asks, could you use neps to add some detail and to make the crust look more like a crumb style?
That sounds so cute. I didn't even think of it. I don't think we don't have any neps that are really in this colorway, but maybe you could dye them. So I don't think they're not going to look lumpy. I don't know if they would look lumpy underneath that layer, because they would be kind of easy to needle felt down, but you could definitely try it. I don't think I have any neps that look like this color, but you could also beat up little bits of this. Like you could make your own neps. I think that's such a great idea that you came up with. So just take a little bit of this and kind of, you know, wad it up and make like, you know, like you're making little spitballs. Spitballs were bigger, I think, but that's reaching way back. But then you could make some little bits just like this. I think that would make that's a great idea. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Okay, I'm working on my crimping or fluting, whatever we call it. I need to get at least all the way around my pie. Okay, what else do we got?
Barb asks, could you use one of those half-ball styrofoam pieces as the main body and then add the filling over that?
Barb asks, can you use styrofoam? And I tell you what, I don't use styrofoam in my needle felting. I just don't. Here's the thing about styrofoam for felting, just so y'all know. Now, some of the stuff that you might get from China or Nepal might have styrofoam inside. So stuff you buy from World Market or stuff you buy from Target. And what I want to tell you is, that wool is being tacked to the styrofoam, but it's not really felting to the styrofoam. We find you never have a really satisfying felt surface from those things. And I just don't use styrofoam. I would rather use wool. And if this feels too cumbersome to build your own wool base like this, well then make some little balls and throw them in the washing machine and then cut those in half. You get yourself a really good pair of scissors or a really strong knife and cut those in half. So you can wet felt balls in the washing machine if you want. You could also bind the wool with like yarn or string and get it into the shape that you want. I think that'd be a little harder on a half dome, but you could give it a go. And I would encourage you to use something like that. And then also every time your pins or stuff go in, you would hear that styrofoam crunch, 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 and it's going to break down over time, because that styrofoam, just from aging, one, but also all the time your needles are going into it, it may not hold up over time. So that's something to think about. You might fare, if you really don't want to make it with wool, you might fare a little better with something like this kind of foam that can handle the needles going in and out and not break down. Something to think about anyway. Okay, I'm going to finish up my fluting here. I know that I need to, or I could, really work on the detail of this. But what you're going to want to do is once you get all finished is then glue it into your base so that it stays put, because otherwise it's just going to slide all around in that base and not stay put. Okay, anything else, Anne?
See, a couple of felting friends want to know if you want to use this pincushion for holding felting needles, is there a certain height that you should make it to make sure they're fully protected?
Well, that is really interesting. So should you make it a certain height if you're going to use it for felting needles? Now, most felting needles, while they're on average about three and a half inches long, the shaft where the actual needle felting portion takes at place is really not very long at all. So it only needs to be about that deep, and I think that that's just fine, because most of the time you're just sticking them in just like that anyway, and I think that's okay. Some of mine are quite deep, and they're in like a little pot, like I have a little fairy garden one that's in a flower pot. I have one that's just a great big dome, like a great big half-size softball, baseball about, I would say, a friend made me. But I think, yeah, you probably don't want it to bottom out. Like you want to be able to do that without it bottoming out. I think that would be ideal. Okay, so work your way all around your lattice work and get it, fluting out. That's however, just how you want it in all the ways you want it. And when you're happy with it, then we can glue it in. And today I brought this glue, Gorilla Super Glue, because I really wanted to hold it in place. So I think, use whatever glue you like. I do have E6000 glue. I use Aleene's fabric glue all the time, and I'm just going to actually flatten out this bottom a little bit. I think my bottom is not quite as flat as I want it, so I'll go right around and flatten all of those parts down, and this is not going to show, so you don't have to worry about it really, but you want it covered all the way down the sides of your little dish, whatever that is. And get everything in place. And this is really quick, y'all. As I always say, I will go back and finish this off so that it feels really nice. And I'm actually just going to put the glue right in the dish. And hopefully he comes out. I just bought it. It's open. It says open. Ah, there we go. Okay, I'm going to glue this thing in all the way. I really want it to stay. Why don't they fill these things all the way? Apparently, this is a brand new thing of glue. You'd think that the glue would just come right on out. That's hilarious. Oh, I think that was like, here we go. It just needed a little coaxing. I want to glue it all the way in so this thing really does not come undone. There we go. Okay, so with my glue all in place, now I'm just going to mash these two together and let them become one and really seat it in there. And I would just hold it in there for a little bit so that it all sticks. And then the last thing is, for your very bottom, is to have a little felt sheet on the bottom as well. And again, so on this felt sheet, what you could do is needle felt a little heart. If you have some fabric that you can print on, you can make your own little name tags, felted by or felted for or with love Jenny, and glue that right on the bottom as well. And then your little name tag would be on the bottom, but also then people would have a little table protection if they ever slide it around. You don't have to worry about that paint coming off or the paint getting scratched off your little pie either. We need some pins, don't we? We need pins. Let's see. Do I have pins? Okay, I have some pins here. Oh, I have pins here too. See, here's other pin cushions we've made. This is one with that. Now this one was given to me, wasn't it? This was given to me also by Tessa, as a matter of fact. So Tessa Bold, the lady who made me the first pie, also made me this. So I'm not showing the right picture. Sorry. She made me this one, and we did something like this together, didn't we?
We
I
did.
can't remember.
I think it was a couple years ago.
So Tessa's gifts just keep on giving. Now we're sharing them with you. So here is our little pie cushion. Still needs a little bit of love, still needs a little bit of work, but I think it's a really fun project. Really, you can personalize it, especially, you know, if you write a little message on the bottom or make it uniquely yours. So yeah, super cute, super fun. Let's do one more quick overhead. Here's our little pie. And I'd love to hear what everyone's saying.
Linda says she's going to add some whipped cream to hers. A couple of folks are going to put cherries on top.
Oh, that's so cute.
Kevin shares, for an added challenge, you could even do a pie with a slice cut out of it.
Oh, man. Kevin, I put that on you, brother. You make that pie with a slice cut out of it. So does the pie get to be oozing out into the bottom, or does it have to be a really firm pie? No soggy bottoms, Kevin. No soggy bottoms. That's all I want to say. Oh, you guys. Well, I hope this is fun. It's a really quick and easy project. Like I said, I make a great gift, a great stocking stuffer. Super fun to make. It doesn't require a lot of thought, maybe a little bit of patience, but I need to do more work on mine and firm it up, and I look forward to seeing how yours come out. And now we're going to give away some prizes, right, Anne?
Absolutely.
So Anne's been writing down names of you guys while we have been felting, and thank you for participating in the conversation. And so we're going to give away some prizes right now today. What are we giving away, Anne?
Alrighty, we got some fun stuff today. We have got an MC1 goodie bag, and you can select any of the varieties, regular, fall, or winter. We have got a single needle wooden tool.
This
Voila.
guy.
And lastly, variety pack of needles.
Right? Cool. So we're going to draw names right now, and if we draw your name, this is what you win. And yeah, and so after we draw those names, I'll tell you how to get your prize. So let's do that.
Fabulous.
All right. And you wrote, so you draw.
Alrighty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, just all right. Pamela Miller.
Yay, Pamela. Okay, I'm going to draw one too. And that, well, I got two. Hold on. It's easy to get two. I'm not looking. I think it's two. Here we go. Lauren Duran. Lauren Duran, and you said Pamela Miller. Here they are.
Pamela Miller.
These are the names that we drew. Congratulations, friends. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you won, or if you want to check out these prizes, here is our website right there. If you need to contact us, scroll to the bottom, hit the contact us, or up at the top is our phone number. We're here Monday through Friday from 9 to 4. We'll resume Saturdays in the fall, we've decided. Yeah, and so thank you so much for hanging out with us, guys. Now we've been aspiring to do a live show every week this year. Last week we were off. We need to take a little more time. And I'm not on vacation. We are working on our online school very diligently, and we're kind of in that home stretch. So if we don't have a live show, the calendar will be on our Facebook group, so make sure you join us over there. Answer the questions. You need to have some history on Facebook, but answer the questions to join our group if you're not already there. We'll post any live show updates there, and if we don't have a live show, we'll still have some interaction or some kind of group challenge for the week so that we can all still hang together. But I just want you to know we're working diligently on the online felting school and getting very, very excited about it. So thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for just being here with us, and most important thing is just be extra super good to yourselves this week. You guys deserve it. Thank you. Bye, y'all.